much, Chair Mr. Nak. So it's such a wonderful surprise to see you again. I hope you still remember. Yeah, it seems so long time since you came to Japan for our intellectual dialogue project.
You were most hospitable. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So I found the discussion so far quite focusing on physical connectivity. So my presentation might be quite different. So please bear with me in that sense. So I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Asian Confluence and the Embassy of Japan, first of all, for organizing this seminar and giving us an opportunity to speak at the event. Indeed, it's my great privilege and honor to be part of this session. So I'm humbled to be surrounded by such distinguished participants and chair, even online. So perhaps some of you might have never heard of the Sasakawa Peace Foundation. So just let me spend the first one minute to make a brief introduction about our organization. So SPF is one of the oldest and the largest private foundations based in Japan. So we have worked to promote mutual understanding between Japan and other countries to promote a culture of peace, having addressed a diverse array of global issues in the area of security, environment, gender, sustainable development, and so on. So not only providing grants, SPF also undertakes surveys and research and conduct action-oriented programs by ourselves. So since its inception in 1986, we've been conducting a number of initiatives in India, mainly on people-to-people exchanges, such as India-Japan Strategic Dialogue Project, in which more than 50 Indian Parliament members, including MPs from the Northeast, have visited Japan from 2004 to 2016 in collaboration with Confederation of Indian Industry, CII. So this project was later taken over by our parent organization, the Nippon Foundation, but I think our initial attempt greatly helped to enrich India-Japan relationship, which grows as one of the most flourishing partnerships in the world today. So currently, SPF also engages with issues like a security environment and the Indian Ocean region in the context of Indo-Pacific. So given the growing strategic importance in many ways, as many of that speakers has already addressed, that we decided to focus on the so-called Northeast India back in 2016. And we have continued our journey till now. So in the first place, we interviewed totally 80 or more opinion leaders, I would say, throughout the 8 states to understand specific regional issues and listen to the people's needs on the ground. So eventually we came up with an idea to highlight 2 issues, culture and sustainable development. So put it more precisely, we aim to enrich the local cultural heritage and to promote Northeast-centered sustainable development for accelerating East policy. So why culture then? So this is because we were simply amazed and fascinated by their cultural richness. But not only that, you can't overlook the fact that the people in the region are deeply proud of it. So culture in the Northeast is outstandingly diverse and complex, with hundreds of languages being spoken and hundreds of different communities coexisting in harmony, despite the fact that some of them have experienced tragic conflicts in the past. On top of that, just as Ambassador Suzuki rightly stated in the morning, many of them, such as food habit, traditions and values and the way of thinking and working attitude, look pretty similar to those of Japanese. So this was something I personally had never imagined before, perhaps simply out of my ignorance. But at least 5-6 years ago, we had a difficulty to find existing literature and information in the mainstream media to portray such Northeast India. So moreover, through interactions, we came to acknowledge that a large number of people in the region found the idea of peripherality and the categorization as a single entity such as Northeast quite problematic. And I had a strong feeling that the region's reality should have been addressed, recognized, and valued in a more constructive way. So consequently, as a newcomer, we carefully designed and developed projects with determination and intention to disseminate constructive and balanced information that breaks stereotypes, creates enough space for everyone, not leaving women and other minorities behind, and it gives hopes to the people in the region, especially to young people, thereby reshaping the region's existing image and promoting a correct understanding of its diversity and potential, which is, we believe, a key to development and a better business environment. So let me just to share some of accomplishment or outcome. Can you, I hope you show, you see this? Okay. So to serve this purpose, in the last 4 years or so, we conducted the project like this, and in collaboration with local partners, such as Zuban Publishing Company, we have published books. Some of them are still in pipelines, and many of them are anthologies of women writers of the Northeast. We have also brought together these writers to leading literature festivals like Jaipur throughout the countries, where a number of panel discussions and exhibitions took place. So we have also encouraged young writers and artists to create their works by giving grants and trainings. So further, since we thought that audio visuals are always the most powerful media to help people understand the others, particularly lesser known places like the Northeast, in October 2019, probably for the first time in its history, we supported to organize a special screening program dedicated to Northeastern film at the world-renowned Yamagata International Documentary Film Festival in Japan. So the program featured 16 films in total, and 4 of those filmmakers traveled to Japan, including a legendary filmmaker like Aribam Sharma from Manipur. So this year, the same program was streamed online as a part of a film festival in Tokyo, and having attracted tens of thousands of audiences. So the program seemed to have left Japanese fans a deep impression, and we received overwhelming responses. We believe that the audience was absolutely rewarded with fresh insights into the region. So we also engaged with building infrastructure, or I should say a platform or space for preserving and sharing histories and memories. Let me introduce a couple of initiatives. So I think this Imperial Peace Museum is something iconic, one of the most recognized collaborative initiatives between Japan and India in the region, at least as of now. So the museum has been run by Manipur Tourism Forum in collaboration with Second World War Imperial Campaign Foundation. So we are absolutely delighted and honored to be part of its inception process. So the museum is originated from the work of the local community efforts to search the records of Battle of Impar and the Battle of Kohima by collecting the remains and the relics of fallen soldiers. So after the decision was made to build the museum with the support of the Nippon Foundation, SPF helped to establish the local preparatory committee and welcome the core members to Japan. So the members included the founder of the Manipur Tourism Forum, Dr. Dabari, so who was conferred the Order of Rising Sun, gold and silver raised by Japanese government last year, as well as a prominent journalist and the most respected scholar on Northeast and Burma cultures and so on. So during this study visit, the core members visited various peace museums in Tokyo and Okinawa, which itself is a region whose civilians suffered greatly in World War II. So as a result of a series of consultations with curators and experts, the fundamental concept of the museum was established with the central goal of not only focusing on the war itself, but also convening a message of peace by including examples of the post-war development in the state and the richness of the region's people and the culture. So hoping to establish a collaborative partnership, SPF contacted the Haebaru Town Museum, a highly regarded peace museum in Okinawa, and to learn more about the museum's incorporation of local community perspective. And Mr. Kazuki Oshiro, former director of the Haebaru Town Museum, visited Imphal on a monthly basis beginning in January 2019 to meet with the local preparatory committee and finalize the content to be exhibited. And the museum opened to the public on June 22nd of 2019. So last year, museum faced with closure for several months due to the pandemic, but during the first 8 months from its opening, tens of thousands of people visited, including students and tourists from other states and overseas. So there are a lot of things to be done, but it has become one of the leading destinations for visitors in the state, along with other amazing places like Loktak Lake and the INA Museum. So we also helped to establish the Northeast Audiovisual Archive in collaboration with Mass Media Department of St. Anthony's College in Shillong. So for introduction, I just would like to draw your attention to watch 2-minute video clip created by the project team. So would you mind playing the video, please?
Yes, I'm playing the video.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. Sorry, I did, I was muted. Okay, so similar to Imphal Peace Museum, we did create a linkage with Japan. So the team visited Japan in February 2020 and interacted with members of leading audio archives out there, so including National Film Archive of Japan. So just like Okinawa for Imphal, so we approached Tohoku region as a main counterpart for this archive project. So Tohoku has a long history of oral storytelling like the Northeast, and experienced that devastating Great Eastern Japan earthquake and tsunami 10 years ago. So as a consequence, there are a number of initiatives started to promote recovery as well as record and preservation of photos, films, and sounds and text. Also, they encouraged the people in the community to archive people's daily lives and memories. So some of those attempts have already been taken up by the team, and one thing settled down. So we are really hoping to resume the training and interaction in the presence of Japanese experts. So this is something that happened just last week in Garo Hill. So the CM was also present there. So, yeah. So let's move on on sustainable development. So frankly, I have to admit that our attempts on this front, sustainable development, are still at the very initial stage comparing to the field of culture. So we spent a couple of years conducting study on the border trade and shared history with, particularly with Bangladesh. So that was hugely successful and interesting. So based on the study, actual implementation titled Engaging the Northeast into East project was just kickoff. So a large number of planned activities have been disrupted due to COVID-19, but still in 2020, we started the pilot initiative to promote entrepreneurship and build the capacity of agri and other micro enterprises in rural Assam, particularly in BTC area. So far we have worked together with 12 youth and provided with hands-on training and coaching in association with Innovative Change Collaboration Services Limited, ICCSPL. So from this year, so we are hoping to do the project in a full scale, possibly to expand target areas and exchange with value chain development of products. So we also would like to resume a sort of Japan-India strategic dialogue initiative to create a platform for possible collaborations among stakeholders, rural entrepreneurs of two countries. So to summarize, we are a private foundation, so obviously our resources are limited, and then the scale of the impact are much, much smaller than those of official development assistance. So having said that, probably I think we have managed to make some differences so far by bringing local perspective to the table and serving as a catalyst, having established the linkages between Japan and India, Northeast, to help create additional value to the project. So to conclude this presentation, I would like to quickly refer to a few challenges, and I should rather say implications based on our experiences so far. So I think the title of this symposium speaks for itself. So connectivity, commerce, capacity building, culture, and conservation. Perhaps we can call it 5C. So it is inevitable to focus on the first 3C to fill the infrastructure gap and attract FDI to the region. But in doing so, we would need to create a balance with another 2C, culture and conservation. Of course, the mechanism has already been put in place for environment and social consideration. In the meantime, but for the region like the Northeast, I think we can't simply apply a successful model from the other parts of India, but need to develop perhaps an alternative approach, I would say, and pay extra attention to a regional specific context, which is hugely complex and delicate. So considering its diversity, we would need to make the process more inclusive and handle resource allocation carefully. So we might have to consider developing local specification dedicated to each state or even to each district in order to fit into their ecological sensitive areas and various and unique natural environment. But having said that, there is still a great deal of business potential for India-Japan collaborations in these regions. So it has been claimed that the region is landlocked and structurally or systematically disadvantaged, but I have never met young people with full of aspirations and talents like them. So Northeast India can offer a lot of possibilities and it can become a hub of inspirations and innovations for many people. So I can see only a bright future ahead. So thank you very much.